Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, September the 22nd. Eric Sandvol is with us. Good to have you here, MU Geological Sciences. And this is one interesting guy that I find fascinating to talk to, earthquakes, talking about earthquakes. Before we get into just discussion of it, there is an event coming up real soon, right?
That's right. Yeah, in a couple days. On Saturday at the St. Louis Science Center, we're going to have an event. It's called Rock, Quakes, and Fossils. So I'm going there for the quakes part. And I have a colleague of mine, Noel Bartlow, and a young faculty who's doing great research on subduction zones and earthquakes. And she's going to give a talk. And there's going to be all kinds of information about how to prepare for earthquakes, why we have earthquakes, what causes them, what happens in an earthquake, what do you feel in an earthquake. Actually, there's little shake tables you can fill there at the St. Louis Science Center. This is the second year we've had the event. Last year we had 4,000 people come.
4,000?
Yes, and it was mostly from the St. Louis area. I'm hoping we can get some people actually visit from the Columbia area.
Okay, but they're listening in Central Missouri, so if you want to go, it'll be this Saturday.
Yep, all day.
September the, what is Saturday?
September 24th.
September 24th, Saturday, September 24th.
9 to 5.
Is it free?
Yeah, it is.
It's free.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And an earthquake seminar.
Rock, quakes, and fossils.
Rock, quakes, and
fossils.
And everybody is invited to attend, especially
Absolutely.
the people from Central Missouri.
That's right.
Now, last time you were on, we were talking about the probability of having an earthquake here in Central Missouri, and it wasn't all that high.
No, it's quite low here.
But now, you know, we were following the news of that awful earthquake in Italy a couple of weeks ago, where was over 300 people lost their lives. Was this expected or unexpected?
Italy itself, nearly the entire country of Italy, is in a high-risk earthquake zone.
As much so as the San Andrea Fault?
So close, yes, pretty close.
I didn't realize that. I thought the San Andrea Fault was the highest probability of earthquakes in the world.
Oh no, oh no. So probably where you find more in terms of numbers of earthquakes, of sizable earthquakes, magnitude 6 and higher, you probably get more in the Eastern Mediterranean, actually Greece, Turkey, and Italy there. You get very large numbers of earthquakes, many more than actually find in San Andreas. Now the San Andreas is dangerous because you're generally going to get bigger earthquakes in California on the San Andreas Fault than you're generally going to have in Italy.
And so densely populated areas where the San Andreas Fault is. Right,
and that's always a problem. The other thing that California has a little bit going for it is it's newer. The buildings tend to be newer, whereas in Italy, you have a lot of very old historic buildings that just aren't going to be able to withstand very strong ground shaking.
But you know, they stood up for centuries.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They stood up for
But eventually, very often, earthquakes, I like to say, is a lot like real estate. It's location, location, location. Right. So this place, if you're right next to where the earthquake happens, then there may have not been an earthquake near this particular village for a very long time, then that's how it survived.
I want you to tell the story. We were talking before we came on the air about the scientists, the seismologists who were thrown in jail in Italy because they didn't predict the earthquake?
Yes, yes.
And this is true?
This is true. This is true. It obviously sent huge ripples through the scientific community in general, certainly in my field as someone who studies earthquakes.
Could that happen here in the United States where you get thrown in jail because you didn't predict something?
Well, I don't want to say never, but I hope not. I really hope not.
So what happened there?
Right. So, and this was, in fact, one of the last major events prior to this earthquake that killed a fair number of people in Italy. It was a devastating earthquake that again happened in the very early hours of the morning near some small villages with very old buildings and houses that people lived in. But what had happened was that there was something of a practitioner of pseudoscience had suggested that there was going to be an earthquake in this region. He wasn't specific. He didn't make a very strong prediction, but he generally implied there was going to be an earthquake in this region.
Kind of like the weather forecasting.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to speak too badly of our meteorologist friend.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, right.
The seismologists, my colleagues in Italy, then said, "Oh, there's nothing behind this. There's no real strong science to this, and people shouldn't be worried and don't worry about it." which was actually, that was a mistake, because what they should have said is, there's nothing behind the science, but we don't know. There could be an earthquake in this region. We just don't know precisely when it's going to happen. The problem is it happened just a few weeks later, and it killed a number of people. And then the government said, well, you are the official authorities. You're the seismologists. Why did you not know this earthquake was coming when this other guy...
And they put him in jail?
And they were indicted. They were indicted and put in jail. They were eventually released, but yeah, they were indicted and put in jail.
But now, in all fairness, it's impossible to predict an earthquake, is it not?
That's a great question. And so this is something I often address with classes and talking with people, but you're absolutely right. And what we really have to do is we have to define what a prediction is, right? And so a prediction is where you say the size and precise location and precise timing. It has to be precise when that event's going to happen. And you're right, we cannot do that. In fact, there's really some physics and mathematics that suggest that can never happen. We can never predict it, that this is an inherently, there's a component of randomness to this earthquake process that makes this just inherently, you can't predict it precisely.
Right, because doesn't it have something to do with how things are shifting? Maybe the pull of the moon, the gravitational pull, and you got a little bit of a bump here. And
so we want to be really careful about the moon, because this is an idea that led to another prediction in Missouri by a fellow by the name of Ivan Browning that caused so much havoc and chaos. So the gravitational pull is very, very small force compared to what the real force is that's generating the events, and that's the movement of the plates. It's so much, many orders of magnitude.
So the moon really doesn't have...
Very small, very modest.
So I could be thrown in jail for saying that, couldn't I?
I hope not. I hope not. Yeah, so what it is, it's the movements of the plates, and as these plates try to move past one another, they get stuck together, and the Earth bends and bends until it bends so much that it breaks. And that's what an earthquake is. It's the Earth's crust breaking. And we can measure a lot of these processes, and we know so much more about it, but exactly when it's going to break, we just can't tell. Yeah, we just can't tell precisely.
Okay.
We can forecast, but not tell precisely.
Okay. So what are you forecasting central Missouri-wise?
So
Be careful.
Oh yeah. No, I will be very honest, and this is always my answer. In fact, I will say first up front, and I'll give a talk about earthquakes in Missouri on November 14th at the Cafe Science in the Broadway at Flat Branch. So if you want to hear more about it. We don't understand earthquakes in Missouri very well here. So my answer to your question is we don't know.
Okay.
We really don't know.
That's a good answer. You don't know, and
we're trying to learn more. We'll try to figure it out better, but right now we don't know.
Okay, Eric, you're just always a delight to have on. I enjoy talking to you so much. Eric Sandvol, MU Geological Sciences, and if you want to see more, this Saturday in St. Louis at the Science Center, 9 to 5.
Exactly.
And it's called what?
Rock, Quakes, and Fossils.
Okay, tomorrow, Super Sam Foundation and Children's Grove Photography Contest. If something you would like to hear or see, drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu. Bye-bye.